So we're going to be putting in this radiator today, and before I go through the hassle of draining this and getting this out, I went ahead and just wanted to test fit it onto here. So I'm going to be removing these because I don't have an automatic transmission. You can still use them for cooling if you wanted to. If you have a manual transmission, you could use it for power steering or brake fluid, something like that. So it'd still cool it. It can cool a 200-degree transmission. It should be able to work within the confines of cooling brake fluid. So I'll be removing these fittings here. If you do that, then of course you'd have to rig up something for your, it might be more trouble than it's worth, but you never know. Some people are kind of adventurous like that. So I'll be taking these out. So I've got it test fitting on here, and this tab right here, you have to bend it up a little bit for it to actually clear back here and to go over the lip that's right here. This one lines up pretty good, and so what I'm trying to do is make sure that the fan shroud sits down evenly, and you run into your first problem here. On this side, you can see we don't have as much room as we do on that side. Okay, the lip sticking out right here, and that reason is right here. So on this fan shroud, this part's broken off, so otherwise I'd have to make sure that this is bent back enough to go up inside of here, or however it's supposed to mount on there. I don't know because mine's missing. But here, the way that they did this, if you look on the Saturn radiator fan shroud, you've got this almost like Allen head portion here, and then you got this little nipple sticking right here. Well, it looks like they went backwards here, because on the stock one, if I can get a good enough picture for you, you can see just like on the tab for the actual fan shroud, you have the wide opening on top where the Allen head portion, I guess you could call, would go in, and then that little sliver, that keyway, would go down into there. So I want it to sit further down, because even all the way in here, it isn't really grabbing on much, and I still have that lip here. So it's either like this should have been more shaped to receive this portion. I don't know, but I'm going to have to kind of pry up on here to get this to sit down a little bit further. But outside of that, that's the only thing I've seen so far. So a little Dremel tool, and you can see the lip on this side where the fan shroud is in relation to the radiator. Well, I've got it about the same over here, and I just had to kind of just clean out that inside there so this would sit deeper into here. And yeah, hey man, it's aftermarket, you know, and so it's not going to be perfect. Now the other issue you're going to run into is right here. The tab that is on the stock condenser, the radiator has a slot that tab goes up into, and it's, as you can see, it's seated all the way up. Let me get this to where the light don't wash it out. You can see it's seated all the way up in there on this side, and on this side as well. It's seated up all the way in there. Okay, so basically, so you can see right here, this is the tab for the, let's see if we can get in there a little better. So this is the tab. See, this is the condenser. There's the tab off the condenser. It goes, that's the end of the tab right here. Well, this right here is the radiator, and it has a slot in this bracket on the front of the radiator for this tab to slide up in. It's bottomed out on both sides. The reason that's an issue is down here, you have to, there's that tab right here on the condenser that has to be bolted to the radiator. It won't line up. It's about a ½ an inch off. And there's really nothing you can do about it. So looks like zip tie time. That's about it. So what you could end up doing is before you even put it in, of course, you could maybe grind out that slot a little deeper. Give yourself some playroom in there before you put it in there. I had to alter that one bracket right there. I had to alter it some. And of course on that one down there, that one, I had to bend it out. I'd probably have had to do that on this side as well, but I don't have, my fan shroud's broken on that side, so it don't so much matter. So the radiator is not without its shortcomings. I don't mind doing this little bit of stuff because I get it, aftermarket stuff, especially for the Saturn at this stage in the game where nobody's making anything for it. I'm just hopeful that the darn thing don't leak right as I start it up. You know, that's the only thing. If it, I'll accept the little alterations you got to make if it just works all right. Oh, and I did run water through it to see if there's any aluminum sediment in there, like, you know, debris and whatnot. I didn't see anything. All right, so it's running. Back in there, all looking good. Been running for a few minutes. Nothing, I mean, I don't expect to see any big changes or anything like that except for when I'm out on the road. Now, these larger radiators and stuff, maybe they won't make as much sense for someone that doesn't have like a turbo or some other heavier workload, because you need extra cooling with the more load that's on the motor. So there is that. But outside of that, I mean, I think with Saturns, if you can get a performance part or some kind of a upgrade aftermarket part, I think you got to kind of get it while the getting's good, you know. But anyway, that's it. It's in, running, good to go. All right, so I did start it up, got it up to temp, but you know, man, although it's not a hot day today, it took forever for it to even get to 200 degrees. And so, because I had the fan disconnected, I went ahead and just actuated the fan with a scan tool, and then they came on, so I'm good with that. Once it cools down, I'll pop the cap and make sure I got to top it off. I checked for leaks, no leaks. So I'm gonna call it good. I did want to tell you this scan tool here, I got it off of Amazon, of course. It's by a company called X Tool. Man, it is actually a pretty nice scan tool, to be honest with you. It's got bilateral control, which you can go in there and turn off things, turn on things, you know, not just be a simple code reader and stuff like that. Nice little scan tool. It wasn't that expensive either. So actually, I watched a guy called the Car Care Nut. He's all about Toyotas and works on Toyotas, and he recommended it, and I got it. It was cheap. And although I do have a Factory Tech 2 scan tool, you know, reading that thing looks like we're back in the 1980s reading MS-DOS, you know, the way it looks on the screen. And this one also has by-cylinder misfire graphic on it, so historical current, just like the Tech 2 would. A lot of scan tools won't do that. So anyway, yeah, everything looks good. Next weekend's a car show up here at the Toyota dealership. I'm going to take it up there, and I think after that I may get it up on the rack and just walk you through with what I did on the rear mount system and where it's at right now, and on to the next steps.